Welcome to the last panel of the day. This is arguably the best panel and the most useful and most interesting. Woo woo! We've got some cheerleading going on the back row there. Woo woo! This is people who actually know what they're talking about on the panel, right? People who are actually in it and actually winning. So, welcome to people who are serving apprenticeships. And have any of you completed apprenticeships? Or are you all? So you've recently completed yours, and everyone else is still in apprenticeship.
I'm just approaching my end of my apprenticeship, so I got a couple months left, but yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's hear from everybody and who everybody is. And yeah, then we'll just have a good conversation and actually hear some decent questions about what it's really like to do an apprenticeship and go through it and be with an employer and earn while you learn. So, would you like to start?
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel. I work for Leeds City Council as a admin apprentice. Been working there since 2021, and I like it.
Hi, I'm Isaac. I'm a junior software engineer now at Jet2. I did a software development technician apprenticeship, which I finished in December of last year, and I've now moved into a full-time role.
Hi, I'm Finn. I work for HSBC, as I'm sure the American jacket gives away. I'm actually doing a degree apprenticeship as well. So I get a financial services management degree and a level 6 financial services professional degree. And I currently work in the branch, but I have 3 more placements, so 3 more years where I could be doing absolutely anything. And I can't really tell you right now what it'll be. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Heather. I'm an events apprentice with Leeds City Council, and I'm actually part of the events team that put on this event today. So it's really nice to be here, and thank you all for coming.
Hi, I'm Max, and I'm an assistant quantity surveyor for GMI, and I'm currently doing a degree apprenticeship in quantity surveying.
Lovely. Welcome, apprentices. And I'm Myra. I work at an organisation called Open Source Arts, and that's my colleague, Phil. And how did you decide actually to become an apprentice? What was that decision?
So I'm working in construction industry, and so do a lot of people in my family. So I've always had that interest of wanting to go into construction, and then went to a careers fair like this, had a look through a few brochures and thought quantity surveying what way forward for me. And that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing.
I got into my apprenticeship because, actually I did a Kickstart placement first. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the government scheme that there was. So I had a 6 months placement, and off the back of that, I applied for my apprenticeship, which I got. And I think the reason that I wanted to do an apprenticeship is because I had quite a difficult time, and I thought that I wouldn't have another chance to be able to further my education or be in the kind of world that I wanted to be. But an apprenticeship was a really good stepping stone for me to be able to get back the future that I thought I might have lost. So I'm really happy to have my apprenticeship.
So the reason I applied for a degree apprenticeship is because I was a bit of a spoiled child, and I decided I wanted to get a degree, but I didn't want any debt. So I said, you know what, let's chuck the two together and let's get a job, an apprenticeship and a degree all at the same time, which is how I ended up in this scenario, to be honest, which is still a bit crazy as an 18-year-old, but here I am, I guess. And a fun fact, I don't even remember applying for it because I was out for my dad's birthday at the time, and it just happened. So yeah, a year on, here I am.
Yeah, I decided I didn't want to go to university because I really don't like exams. And I thought about what I enjoyed doing, and that was writing programs. So I looked for software development apprenticeships, and here I am.
I think I joined during COVID, so it was kind of difficult getting work in general. And I just came out, I was in university and felt not really like getting into the corporate world in itself. So I joined up for Leeds eHub, which I highly recommend. If Carl's over there, he will sort you out. But yeah, so through the Leeds Council eHub, just joined up with them. They gave me opportunities. You can work with us as an apprentice, and it's a good idea to get your careers up, get experience, get my confidence up as well, and just ease me into that whole level of actually getting into work. And that's how I got into it. So yeah.
Amazing, thanks. And from your own experience of being an apprentice in an organization, what contributions do you now realize that you're making to the organization by being part of it?
That is a good question. Honestly, as a contribution, I feel like I do little bits like helping out with this, all events, and just being a part. I can't really put on paper what my contributions are, but that's not because they're any less. It's just how the team makes me feel, how they say, oh, we want you here, we want you there, how they make me feel. And it's not like you're apprentice and you just there in the corner or anything. You're one of the people working there. You're one of the team. And they don't treat you any different than that. They will always kind of respect you. And you're just there. They will just help you out. And you can just take part in everything you want to do. They won't shun you or anything. It's just you're one of the team. And that's something I really like. So I can't really label the contributions, but I just know there's a lot I think I put on the team and how they treat me. And basically their smiles, it's kind of cheesy, but when they smile, they're like, oh, thanks for helping me. It's just nice. Yeah, so...
Yeah, I think it's similar for me in that it's hard to sort of put a label exactly on what I've sort of contributed, but it's a similar thing of sort of being part of my team and really feeling part of it has sort of helped me feel good about it, I guess. Don't know.
That's a great answer.
No, I completely agree with what the two gents have already said. But also I think one big contribution that I have, obviously HSBC is massive, but having a fresh set of eyes on everything is always invaluable to an organisation. And it was only this time last week I was eating a steak with the head of the private bank of the UK, and he's saying to me, be brutal with me here, off the record, what do you think? And it's just stuff like that where you get to give your contribution, where you just sit there and you realise I actually do make a difference here, because now he can go and act on that. Whereas if he didn't ask it, he'd still be left in the dark and not any idea on how to improve himself further.
Thank you. I think the contribution comes from a lot of places. Like, I think everything everyone said is like a really valid point. And I think like being a key part of your team and your job is an amazing thing. But I also think that as an apprentice, you can contribute in a separate way, because you are, maybe there's other apprentices in your team, but for instance, with me, I'm the only apprentice. And so I'm the person that's like going to like college and has that one day of like learning where I'm getting valuable information that I can bring back to my team to help like further what we do. Because if I'm being trained in a specific subject and like my job, my organization is paying for it, it's like as well, it's like a two-way street of they're teaching me, but I can help teach them what I'm being taught from my training provider. So it really makes a good communication system there. And I think I feel like important when I do that.
Yeah, pretty much same as what everybody else has said so far. It's a great place to start as an apprentice, because you're learning and getting taught, and eventually you grow into a position within the team that you're in where you can contribute as much as others can, and you're getting brought up in that company and learn that company's way of working, so you become a valuable member, and then you can start bringing on people and helping them with stuff you're learning at university, college, or wherever you are.
Do any of you train other apprentices or share your learning with others within the team? Maybe this is a no, but I'm just curious.
I have before helped people that maybe newer trainees and apprentices to the company, and just give them little pointers in, this is what I've done at college, this is how I can help you with it. Maybe shared some advice through different units we've been through. Like the same, you get taught it from older people that you're working with that have more experience in the industry, and you pick it up off them and what they think.
I've not necessarily like trained an apprentice. I'm definitely not qualified to do that. But there's times where I've felt that I've been able to bring the training that I've had into the work environment and kind of help teach people things that maybe we don't know. So like when we look at what we're doing now, like this big event that I was like part of helping with, it's like things like that I've learned from college, like event life cycles and stuff that with the proper theory and practice can help enable better things in my workplace. So I think there's always an element of an apprenticeship is where you are taught, but you can also teach too. I think it's definitely a two-way street, like I was saying before.
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. And I wouldn't say teach is the right word because I'm only 5 months in, but giving tips to other degree apprentices is always something that I feel like I can do, because in my cohort there's 32 of us and 6 of us have got the same placement, I think. And in terms of development, it doesn't hurt just to share your top tips and tricks, no matter what industry you're in, even if it's how to approach someone or something like that. It's always worthwhile doing, because ultimately it might stick with them even if you don't realize it will.
Yeah, I've had a bit of experience with helping sort of less experienced people who've joined our team out. And we've recently done some mentorship training. So I'm hoping that next time we take on a new bunch of apprentices, I'll be able to sort of become a mentor and help someone throughout their journey.
Yeah, I've kind of taught a lot of people actually. Not as any apprentice itself. Part of my role, which was kind of the deep end, which I wasn't sure about, was helping new starters. So when I started, I think about 2 months in, more staff started, but because I was more, again, as apprenticeship, you are part of the team. So because even though I was apprentice, I was there before them. It was like I had to teach them how certain things go. So we're just doing half a day with them, making sure they knew all the systems, and that felt kind of really mature in the role itself. Like, oh, I know I'm fresh here, but I'm teaching others. If there's new starts, I help around, show them how the council is. Not necessarily things what I learned from my apprenticeship, but there's such a thing as off-the-job training, not to get too much into it, but as part of apprenticeship, you need to, or part of mine, you need to find out your own learnings and what you learn, not necessarily from the course, but just things you look through. So that could be policies, health and safety, and all this information which is valuable for others to learn. So if I learn something key, for example, about, it could be such as office policies, there's a certain way you should actually look at a monitor to stop you from getting backache, which is actually in most corporates' policies and procedures, which is weird, but it's necessary. And just letting people know that, because it could be, end of the day, it could be someone saying, oh, my neck's stiff, my back's stiff, but they don't know about certain little policies like that, which actually help with health and safety. And just even teaching them that is just beneficial, I think. And sorry.
Great question. Thank you. And I would like to know, maybe just give us a window, each of you, because you all come from very different apprenticeships. So give us a window on what a typical week looks like for you. So we get a feeling for how much is working, how much is studying, how much is recording and reporting, that kind of stuff. So we get a bit of a window on what it was like for you, or what it is like for you during your apprenticeship.
Thank you. Typical week. So I think we're all on one day. I'm not going to talk for everyone, but so one day I do studying, or I can split that into one half day and the other half day. My team kind of lets me do it as myself. I don't really have to go into a college, and with my training providers kind of freely with that, which is you sort out your own relationships with whoever your tutor is. So mine is more flexible than others. And a lot of it's kind of sometimes either going through what's provided to me or taking some time to actually sort out what I kind of want to learn on. Again, it could be looking through the Leeds learning portal. Leeds government have their own learning hub as well. So I can go through that and learn and jot that down. Like, I've learned this. And that also counts as towards my learning. Sorry if I'm going a tangent, but yeah, it's a lot of self-learning, which I don't think lots of people go into. But basically learning out throughout the day. And yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I've finished my apprenticeship now, but when I was doing my apprenticeship, it was filling out a portfolio of different sort of software development core like ideas. So a lot of my work was when I'm working on a project, talking about the different criteria that I've met with that project and why I think I've met it. And then once I had all of that done, that was my apprenticeship complete. All of my off-the-job learning we did in sort of training period at the start of my apprenticeship rather than doing it throughout the course of it, so that we could all learn how to sort of program properly.
So no 2 weeks of mine are the same, which is kind of weird. So for example, like this week, I'm here today. Bear in mind, I'm meant to be working in a branch, by the way. Tomorrow I'm in Birmingham for an in-person lecture. And then Wednesday, I'm down in London, I think. I'm not sure. I need to check tomorrow. Thursday, I'm in a school delivering financial education for some children. Then on Friday, I'm actually back in my branch doing my job. So it's an absolute whirlwind, to be honest with you, the apprenticeship, because I could be anywhere, anytime. And I don't even know until I log on a Sunday night and realise I have an assignment due anyway. So it's a complete whirlwind.
Thank you. So I think the best thing about my apprenticeship is that, again, it's never the same like a week from week, and there's so much opportunity. I think, like Daniil said, I have a set day, again, which is flexible, but like you do about like 6 hours a week, or which can vary. Like studying, I can go into college. I have a tutor. I can meet with them virtually or go into college. I quite like going into college because I feel like you're part of the environment. It feels a bit more tangible and stuff. But I'd say in a week, I could be doing anything from sitting on a panel to writing out rotas to designing a guide or delivering a briefing. And it's really exciting, and you get to interact with a lot of different people, especially the nature of mine, like as an events apprentice and doing things like this, like there's hundreds of exhibitors and thousands of visitors. So it can be like a really lively and like ever-changing thing, which I found quite exciting.
Yeah, so I'm based in the construction industry. So 4 days out of the 5, I'll be on site, working from an office based on site, and every day is different, doing different tasks. And then 1 day a week, I'll go to uni, do 8 hours at uni every Thursday. And then maybe once every 3 months, I might have an assignment that I'll have to do, which will require a bit of what you'd probably class as homework. So there is challenging aspects of it, but it's few and far between. As long as you're good at managing your time and things like that, it shouldn't be an issue, really. They're learning and working at the same time.
Nice, thank you. So I'm going to open it out and see if there's any questions from the audience. Don't be... Yeah, there isn't no such thing as a bad question. Does anyone have any questions? It's a great opportunity to find out what it's really like from an apprentice. Yeah.
Hiya. Can I ask how many different apprenticeships each of you applied for? Thank you.
I have done 2 apprenticeships. I'm currently on my 2nd apprenticeship. I did a level 4 one first, and now I'm doing a level 5 and 6 one at a separate company. So I've applied for 2 and done both of them.
This was the first apprenticeship I applied for. I came from a placement in the same place, so I continued my placement through the apprenticeship.
Before HSBC, I applied for one other one, actually, a company I was already at, and I got rejected for that one at the final stage, actually, due to not being good enough in an assessment centre. So if you ever get rejected from one, all I'm going to say is make sure you ask the interviewer for some feedback on it, because what they told me I actually worked on, and then ultimately I got this apprenticeship, which is arguably better anyway. So everything happens for a reason, I guess.
I think I applied to 3 or 4 apprenticeships, and I got offered one other one, but I chose the Jet2 one because it was overall a better offer.
This is my 2nd one I applied for. I applied for one with Leeds City Council, but for software engineering. Then again, listen to the feedback. Applying for apprenticeship is the same as applying for a job, so it's good to rehearse questions, if that helps as well, and take it more as, instead of like a college interview, think of it as a job interview, because that's what you're doing at the end of the day. You're doing a job. Think of it that way. And when I started doing that, that's when I got it the second time. It was more focused and less, more serious for me to think about.
Thank you. Who'd like to ask the next question? Yeah, over here. Oh, and then Sabina. Keep that question in the oven, Sabina. Yeah.
Good evening. Do you have guaranteed work opportunities when you finish your apprenticeship?
I would say no. That's up to the company you work for. I would do say that as you're actually working for the company itself, internal job searches, apprenticeship, if you're not guaranteed opportunity, you still can apply for roles in that company. So, for example, if I working for Leeds City Council, I can apply for a different role and still continue my apprenticeship as long as it's still in the same organization. So, and that role might be more permanent than the one I actually got with the apprenticeship, if that helps. Though I wouldn't say it can continuously. It just depends on which organization you work for and your communication there. Because again, with there's budgets, and the way apprenticeships sometimes are done, I throw a separate budget line, and that's only for a certain amount of time. But I believe organization wants to put money into or what you're doing. They want to just get rid of you, so there's going to be some way of keeping you on, is what I would say. I would say no, not really guaranteed, but potentially.
Yeah, I think it's a similar situation of, it's not necessarily guaranteed that you'll get a job, but I know that at Jet 2, every apprentice who's finished their apprenticeship has had a job offer at the end. It's just that case of finishing the apprenticeship and making sure that sort of the company wants to keep you because you're an asset, really.
Yeah, with mine, we've been told that we have got one at the end of it, guaranteed. But obviously what that job is unknown, because you make that many connections along the way. 4 years is a long time, and the amount of people you meet through that process is going to be uncountable towards the end of it. So it'll be more a case of people, hopefully you've left an impression on them, so it's different people actually trying to drag you to their team rather than a case of scrounging around for a job as such, I think.
Thank you. So I don't have a guaranteed job at the end of my apprenticeship, but my manager's in the back, so if she changes her mind. But also, I think the thing about apprenticeships is when you look at like the statistics, I'm not sure if this is a bang on number, but I think around 80% of apprentices get carried. Is it 87? Is it 94%? Wow, that's even better than I thought. 94% of apprentices continue on into work with their employer afterwards. So that gives me some hope. And I also think like Daniil had a really strong point when he was saying that these like people are investing their time and their money into you because they want you there. And they're not going to just train you up to like throw you away. So I think as long as you're like working hard and you're engaged and invested, then an apprenticeship, while not 100% always guaranteed, even though it is sometimes, is a really good option anyway.
I think mine's slightly different in a way that I applied for a full-time job and it's developed into an apprenticeship when I decided that I wanted to do university. So as much as I'm not guaranteed a job if I do something wrong or out like that, but nigh on, I've started off as a full-time job and developed into an apprentice. And obviously GMI are investing a lot of money into me and into his development as they do with all their apprentices. So I think they'd be looking to keep on anyone who applies, really.
Nice. What one piece of advice or guidance or suggestions would you give to someone who's looking to do an apprenticeship?
I think when you're applying for apprenticeships and going to interviews, etc., I'd make sure you do as much research into the industry and the company that you're off to work for. Just think it always shows that you're keen and interested in what the company does, and you've not got much experience at that point, so employers will take what they can from you being keen and wanting to learn and try and develop you into a person that's good for them.
I think that's a really good point, and I completely agree. And I think as well, when you're researching and you're looking into the companies, also like even pre that, research and look into the amount of apprenticeships that are available. Like you can be an apprentice, like I'm an events apprentice. I know Danielle is an admin apprentice. Like you can be an apprentice from everything from like hair and beauty through to a literal doctor. And there's so many like opportunities that I didn't even realize there was. And there's a fantastic website that's the Institute for Apprenticeships that just lists like all the different things that you can do. So I think the best thing to do is to look into it, but not just the companies, like the sort of apprenticeships themselves.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you've both said there. But a bit of advice I'd have for anyone once you've actually managed to secure an apprenticeship, which I'm sure you all will if you're here tonight, is don't be scared, don't be fearful. You know, put yourself into as many different opportunities as you can, because ultimately, as much as it is what you know in business, a lot of it is actually who you know as well. And if you go out there, make a lot of connections, get involved in a lot of different things, then good opportunities will ultimately follow you.
Yeah, I think for my sort of job role in my industry, it's a bit of a different one because it's something that can sort of be done in a non sort of business environment. So I think my biggest tip for anyone in that sort of situation is to make sure you actually know what you're doing and sort of have that passion for it, because I think that really shows in interview. And I think that is a very sort of desirable trait for a person to have. If you can prove that you really enjoy what you do and you really like it, I think that sort of makes you stand out a bit.
Everyone's advice was really good and kind of left me in a hard spot. So I would say the boring one is once you do get the apprenticeship, jot down the things that you learn. Make sure you have a record of what you're actually learning. And I think that's important just for after you finish your apprentice. And I think these are things you can put in your CV. If you be adventurous, you do what you can, take on the opportunities, just make sure you write it down. When you actually go into them job interviews, you can actually say, I've done this, I've done that. Taking chances. You just want to make sure you remember this stuff. Plus, it helps afterwards in your assessment. You can always say, I've done this because of that, and I've learned that because of this, and jot down everything you've learned. Perfect.
Wise advice from everybody. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and opinions and experience, like really from right up close in the moment. It's so valuable. And if anybody would like to have another or a little bit more of a chat with any of the panelists, please stick around. They're going to be here for the next 10 minutes or so. Thank you very much. I didn't ask you that beforehand, but it'd be great if you could stick around for another 10 minutes. And please do come up and ask the questions, because like they said, do your research, and this is part of the research. So big thanks to all of you. Big thanks to all of you and all of the audiences today. Huge thanks to Myra. And big thanks to everybody who has helped to put this event together. Teresa, Simon, Yvonne, Gabby, Martin's granddad, who's over there, who's been helping with the live stream today, and everybody in between, David on the sound desk over there, and everybody who's been part of it. Sabina, who? Oh, Heather. Yeah, exactly. Everybody who's been part of it. It's been a great day. And please, if you're interested, do more research and get stuck in, because it's a great way to enter industry. And I wish you every success. Thank you.